the language of music is for me a bit like when it comes to, for me, the most important nowadays is like critical thinking, scientific thinking. So this way of like you have to work for it, and like with Tolstoy, I think this was maybe one of the best attempts. It just doesn't work to talk about it. So I don't know, like, and maybe we have to find another way, because like this is not just yeah, in your case, like it's kind of, yeah, in many ways it's probably too late, because like I uh, I invested 1,000 hours in this before I was 10 already, right? And so there you learn the most, and so I guess we have to, find another way. But yes, for me that was the main source of like where I found well answers,
Sorry to
right?
say, brother, I don't know where the network issue. It's just loading and breaking the voices. Um, I
Should we
don't know
try another time?
which side, but network issue appears.
Yeah. Um, like I understand you now properly, but like we can just try another. So like if yeah. So I don't know. So maybe
Mm,
like
I can hear clearly a sentence, full sentence. It splits uh, two or three parts, and some words are missing. It feels
nah,
I'm
then
facing network
like
issue.
let me try to call again. But if it's not fixed, then
Yeah.
let's try not. So is it better or not really?
Now better.
Okay. Well then, like maybe yeah. So like on music, I think this is kind of a question I expected, and I tried a lot in that regard in the book Brüche sind erlaubt, and there I think the author, or we, did a good job, because she is um, especially when it comes to the cantatas, maybe even more experienced than I am, right? So that's it's like there are some like number or like with the titles I pointed out examples where you have access even if you don't understand music, or even are like deaf, I guess. Um, but for the most part, I think this is not. It's not like I kind of want to compare it to. So like I think I didn't mention that yet properly, I guess. So Johanna's um, family. So her uh, direct like ancestors were the reason that Einstein's notes were documented. So that was before like that was successful theory, and so they like I don't know if that was like the like the uncle or the the father of Johanna. So but like they just out of like well I don't know like just because it was the job, so they kept those notes, right? And so philosophically, the situation for Einstein was over a decade, kind of, I guess, similar to what I'm claiming now with this, but for me it's 5 years, not a decade yet. With that, I was able to show that that was directly underlined those messages by God, right? In the sense that he basically knew, like for someone that was one of the best students as well in physics. So that's the reason they kept those notes in general. Um, like it's as simple as like 1 is equal 1 times 1 squared. So this famous formula with units, right? And this is if you don't get that at the end of elementary school, you will not be able to like become Einstein, of course, right? So that was like that's what he uh, understood, but no one else got it. And I mean, the proof was again that like they then so when there was this like telefax sent, just that it was verified in the like corona of the uh, uh, sun. So during a solar eclipses, you can see the stars are so they are as you would expect from the theory of Einstein. So the position is not explainable otherwise. So that's what they saw then, and so they verified it, and then it was more about keeping that knowledge secret from. But for the most part, like 44. So that was in 2000. I don't remember. So 2000. 1911 or something, right? So and then it was a race for the atomic bomb and so on. So then it was more about keeping that knowledge uh, hidden from like the adversaries. But like 40 years later, uh, for the most part, the physics world still had the theory about this ether, right? So it just shows um, how well it didn't change in that regard. 99.7% of like people they are just stuck with what is. They don't want to question that, right? So that's what is for me in many ways similar with. It's not just Bach, but that they found a way to like completely break out from the current like mindset, right? And even music, like you have strict rules for like the Sonatensatz form and so on, and it needs a lot of work to or like uh, so the technique of a fugue and so on. But you can break out, right? So interesting is that you then once you like are in the system, like you can then break out, right? And so they do that, and it's just a language that was back then made for an elite, and I guess I guess there would be, but I don't know. Like it's the same. Like you cannot really like. I don't know. Like, did you look at the special relativity of Einstein somewhere in your career?
Uh, I actually right now I don't uh, have anything in my mind to connect with Einstein. I know some logic that his famous logic that I know, and that's I feel real. But the I don't know. Uh, Actually, I didn't try to connect much philosophical thoughts with him. So uh, so right now I expect from you to say something.
Well, I mean, this part of the book kind of is unfinished. So I guess with music there, we did a lot. So especially Bach, and so like there is stuff like in the architecture, so that like the important messaging is in the hidden dances, the saraband, the shotgun, and like in the so what is the so this golden Schnitt and so on, and like everything in that regard, uh like Bach did. So there is so much like indeed, so as a kind of creator as well, right? So there's so much of that, but with Einstein we didn't manage in the book because this the author just didn't get. So like her ancestors, they didn't get what notes they kept. They just kept it because Einstein had like good grades, so they kept everything. But
Yeah,
they didn't
yeah.
understand it. So they even like Johanna has more a connection to this letter that is not from Einstein, and like her friend presented. So like when there was the lockdown, so from the theater, then the physics behind it, right? And so, yeah, for the most part, Einstein is about physics, not philosophy, of course, right? And so that's another thing. You just cannot like it doesn't help to talk about it. So I was surprised that when I uh, like so he studied physics as well, and like from the Parallelklasse, he was my best like kommilitone, or how you want to call it. So, but later and that was more because of music as well. So like in yeah, and so Honecker, and he's now a conductor, so he studied music after physics. So like he presented, so that was just his task in like yeah, physics. He made a presentation at like the fifth gymnasium about the special relativity of Einstein. And for me, oder Einstein is correct. So like for me, I was surprised that I understood that that presentation, because special relativity is not much more than, well, a bit trickier than Pythagoras, but basically it's that. So if you fully understood how you do that with Pythagoras, so that like the uh, so with the triangle, how that is related with the angle and the length of yeah, so it's basically that it changes a bit because that well, that is what the theory is about. So that's what you wouldn't expect from the math. It's really simple, and like I guess if you don't grasp that at an age like I would have understood that with 13, 14 as well. It's just it has always like this kind of fear attached to it, and so you don't even look at it before that, right? But the allgemeine Relativitätstheorie, the math is real tricky, and like to come up with those Tensor-Schreibweisen, Einstein needed more than a decade of assistance by like so that's why he gifted the Nobel Prize to his wife, the mathematician, right? So what was the name? Marich, oder? So she was the first year of female students, one of the first female students enrolled at ETH ever, and she didn't get diploma because of child by Einstein, right? So, but she was the when it comes to the mathematics, so yeah, and that there it's kind of the examples are much straightforward. So gravitational lensing or like stuff like that. The examples are real simple. The calculations not so much. That is something you have in the later years of physics, if you study physics, right? But the examples are like like well, that is something you find in like the technorama, and so that is something I kind of I don't know, maybe took for granted too much. So like we have some real interesting so because the call with Ghost was initially planned that with his friend from like also the dentist, right? So that he didn't have time, too much work at the moment. So it was just two instead of planned, but like I remember very close to that place, this dinosaur museum Atal, and but that inspired me. And then there is the Technorama, the Verkehrshaus, and so that's something my father did with us. So we went to those places, and then like I you get some ideas from there, and then yeah, but if you like if I would need to learn that, so my mother started on the viola like with 20 or somewhere around there. And then it's even though she had some like piano background, it is very tricky to learn an instrument at that age, right?
Right.
Yeah. And then I mean what Ghost shared, so I guess that's again it's so I'm not I find it quite destructive, but it is something that can happen, right? So if you so I initially decided to study physics because I wanted to figure out something new. If you are not satisfied with just like following what like others did in the like last millennium, so there was actually nothing important, I guess, for theories figured out in the last like 25 years. So everything, so like the Bell theorem and so on, also like the Higgs boson, all that was predicted like at the latest in the 70s, right? So yeah, I mean, if you are not happy with that, if you kind of expect to become a new Einstein, then that will not work out, because for the most part, the biggest puzzles, the biggest open questions, um, they are answered now. That was not the case in the 19th century, right?
Mhm.
And so we found all the so like we found all the and but now the maybe even more important task would be to maybe like we figured out kind of more than we need to like manage this planet in a way that would work forever. Like when it comes to so this is more an engineering task, right? And so
Yeah.
yeah, and that might be more important. It's like eben what Bertrand Russell and others did to like make examples with Einstein that it doesn't get lost. Well, that's so how it is presented nowadays. Like even that is a lot of work that is not Einstein who did that, and that's in many ways definitely as important, right?
Mhm.
But I never dared to point out like how lacking I think. So for me, it's my roots are Einsiedeln, the Catholic Church, Christianity, um, because I didn't have like an answer. So, but now that I would have it, well, it's kind of about as tricky. So in many situations, I just cannot even start with that. So like if I would have told this PhD in biology about that instead of the project with Walter Gehring, which is exactly her field, right? So it's about that this Drosophila laboratory was closed, and there is basically no uh, evolution biology department left, just when it comes to epidemics, pandemics. So that's kind of, well, the reason why I'm not a fan of this leader of the Corona Task Force, professor, so this Tanja Stadler. It's not all her doing, but like that's the result. So if I would just have opened with well, that's didn't work out. So that is about the data. But for me, that's in the past, because now I have another case but that is not ETH, right? But where this professor in theology, alt philology, Pater Alois died. And here I was able to show that Jesus returned and that God exists. So if I would have opened like that, they would just hang up and consider me like they did until I wrote my own fachpsychologisches Gutachten, completely batshit crazy, right? And the other issue is that if you start with statistics, numbers, stochastics, so you can make a couple simple examples with like, for example, this pastoral assistant has, so she plays oboe and clarinette. So she has a background in music, right? But like science, not so much. Let's put it like that, right? And the problem with Mauritius is that I think he would have had kind of well, but he didn't study in that field, and I like he made he made yeah, so it's like he stuck at what we learned at the gymnasium, and yeah, so I don't know. And from my generation, he is the one that is um, the most sound in this, and it's not much. Like it's just yeah, I don't know. So there, I don't know, and like what I don't get is why like um so the statements that were underlined, the content of those statements. So no one is really interested in what this content is because so like that's my issue at the moment, and that's why I try again to discuss it with like Pater Markus, like he's the last like mathematician they have. So but I don't have high hopes that this will work. I would need someone from the well, maybe someone at the gymnasium that is like yeah, but you don't have access to them. You cannot even yeah, but it would be so much better than everything they're doing in the church there at the moment, right? Yeah.
I want to know that in church, actually, you told me that um, uh, some of father like Patrick and they helped you in many ways, but they actually know in a scientific way. They teach you in a scientific way or a theory based.
No.
Why
So
why they
so
are
so like
very good at you?
so like there is probably no one um in Switzerland, and then it is often that was this like well still able basically to read the Bible in Hebrew and like had like Greek and so like Pater Alois. So like when it comes to this, but no, he was still I would say in the Milesic number system. Um, but like when it comes to questions in theology or like how exactly was that discussed or in the Bible and philosophy, so there they are, and Pater Alois is especially when it comes to this overview in philosophy, like he's a philosophy professor, right? So yeah, Pater Patrick and Pater Alois, yeah. But like if I want to become now a Seelsorger, then it is kind of mandatory that you have studied master, I guess, even in theology. And so all I did is master thesis. That's what I did. Um, and I even did more than like normally is requested, right? After Alois died, but like the rest, I consider quite pointless. I think it's even easier to. So in my opinion, if like the task was for Ghost to do what Mohammed did. So in 23 years, like this kind of translation, adaptation to Arabic of the Bible, like I think he wouldn't he wouldn't need more than 23 hours to do the same and in many ways better, I guess. There is no like substance behind it, of course, like every day. But yeah, so like the task to do that, so that's just and I mean, in many ways, it's even worse with what you find in the Bible directly, in my opinion, right? So there is not much, but yeah. So I don't know, but Pater Alois was like disinterested in this kind of questions. Um, didn't care. So he didn't need to defend an old word, and that was there. I was really surprised. So in this regard, he didn't defend like um yeah, and I mean it's the reason because over well 2 millennia they transcribed the Bible that we still have it. Well, it's there. I guess there was once this example. So they found an original Bible that so after the Second World War, they found a kind of perfectly preserved Bible that was untouched for the whole time, and they were surprised how close our translation or what we have now is to this original version, right? So, but I mean, this is another like takes a lot of effort that they managed, right? So they managed to preserve it, but I don't really see much point in that actually nowadays, right?
Mhm.
So, but
Um,
yeah,
it's uh, very tricky to find. I love the way you think and you achieve something to fix current situation or break down. Just as thoughts and talks into real solutions, how it works, and people get help from it. Um, but my question is, um, that time, Jesus didn't know uh, the scientific way to solve that time's problem, but nowadays the moral things can't fix all. So we need a new methods or new breakdowns to know better to fix. Um,
yeah.
and
So but
this
like
is what you want.
I have those statements, and they were not like directly by me for the most part, and they answer that. So what
Yeah.
one is that there were like 5 Nobel Prizes when it comes to measuring time in physics, right? So like you could argue when it comes to science, this is the achievement of humanity, how exactly we are able to measure time, right? And unlike with the Roman number system, um, there will not be someone in 2000 years that will question the way how our clock looks, right? So uh, the digital clock, or like you could argue maybe a binary representation would be better, but we know how accurate our time is, and something like the Fisher exact test as well that was not invented during Jesus times, and even if the universe ends, the information of such a p-value that will last forever, right? So that is just something. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
complete.
yeah.
Yeah,
I read some articles and I saw some videos about p values. I didn't know it before. And I just know some basics. You can talk about it.
I don't know. But I was surprised how easy it was for ChatGPT Plus to follow this step by step. And
Yeah,
um, I expected it to take longer, but so the main issue is just that I don't present it well. So that's another thing. Like I also like those colors you shared, right? So it is a skill, rhetoric, and they engage with the audience. Like, that's something I. My brother is much better at this, but
mhm.
I I don't know. So I there is not there is there I don't see. I don't see myself. There's not much potential to improve in that regard. And I my hope is that in the longer run somehow science always wins. That is my belief, right? When it adds up. So that's yeah, and but I don't know. But I cannot like you cannot explain this in a presentation. Um, you have to work through like your own example. So that's why I made those like birthday uh, so stuff like that. That's why I tried to discuss like one example with the weather, and I don't know. Like I cannot present it better. And like if you would do that with this, well, it's written in German, but like this is a lecture, you would be able to. You would need to do that step by step, and then ask if you are stuck. But I cannot. The problem is always that they are used that you explain them everything, and up to like the Quran, that is for the most part possible. Like you can read the Quran overnight, and it's not that tricky. So again, so there I just it's kind of tough to admit that this was just for the most part a waste of time. So again, I really think it's a waste of time to invest more than 20 hours in those yeah in those kind of books from back then.
Yeah, now I got your point. Why you said it um, last days, and now I clear. Um, but can I share a thing like in my country, um, uh, most of the scholars just preach, and we don't see much actions, or fix people's problems. So in my country there are many organization who do charity, and people fund them, give them a fund, and support them to so that they can give orphans some food, clothes, blah blah, many things. So after all that, in some recent years, we see a organization like name is As Sunnah Foundation. They are doing something different. Like they the main chairman is a great scholar. He preach simple thinking, simple ideas, not scientific, but he fixes many things like. He don't do just charity. He train people. like some mechanics who are less expert, they give a opportunity to learn, so they collect some experts in that, and they teaches how to do it better so that they can work, they can earn money, and they can support their family. And they give women a machine so they can um, you know, how can I sewing their clothes, and many areas. They don't give direct money to help for now. They give rickshaw, you know, in my country people are using sometimes rickshaw like a vehicle. It's a vehicle, cheap vehicle, so that they can earn money with it, so that a main problem money is fixed. And they give them, and ask them to live with good life with some morals, like Islam says. And it changes in many ways, in many ways. So I actually want to know if we teach in a scientific way. Your project is to prove existing gods and in a scientific way, and so that and also people can get some ideas how to fix with that ideas in recent problems. So in theory base and scientific base, I want to know your main concern, how you do, how you think in a different way, which is seems to good, and why you choose this way. Can you tell me some core points, and who are your audience, and who will get benefit from it, and you want to,
Yeah. So
can
so so I
yeah.
I I understand, and I think I'm like my uncle Felix in so with what he tried and did in Africa, like it is
Mhm.
exactly about that, I guess. And
Okay.
I always wanted, so that was always my kind of dream to escape. So one project would have been just to like um, basically plant trees, or you don't even have to plant them, you just have to protect that, and so like build your own well oasis and conquer back, so kind of build a green wall, conquer back from the desert, right? And
Mhm.
I just I cannot do that, and I guess so I never, like, we never got even a generic response from the Gates Foundation, but I think the main issue is that you have to do like research in that field. So like you have to find methods that work with the situation that is uh, like available. And I guess the biggest problems are stuff like hygiene. Diarrhea is one of the like prevailing causes of death in such a situation. And there,
Mhm.
like that's, I guess, the the main issue with in like Lebanon or Gaza, like even those are the real problems they are facing. And the solution,
Mhm.
yes, you first have to like fix that, and that's not that there it's not really helpful if you know that the
It's theory,
Mercury
right?
transaction
Mhm.
is a couple seconds different, and Einstein explains that. So that's the problem, right? So it's like the that is a logistics problem, and like if that's back to this question. So if those if others let's keep up the illusion that we have one billionaire in Bill Gates that tries to do his part. So like if all the other, just the ones that are in Switzerland, so the ones in Switzerland, they have like, what is it, 800 billion together, right? So if they would invest that in fixing like hunger, it wouldn't be an issue. But that's not their goal, right? So yeah. And then my but there is then our problem in Switzerland is more about that people don't have perspective. And I guess the Song of Songs would be much more interesting when those problems are fixed. But as we can see, they lose perspective. And this is an addition that was needed. And I guess those questions. So why are they nowadays, so suicide rate is at its highest in Switzerland and so on, right? But it would probably be a better idea instead of like doing an Andrew Tate program, so with this Manosphere Incel, that they actually would do something. I don't know, invest in a community in Bangladesh and like something like that, then they would have a purpose. But it's not like, for the most part, the rechtsbürgerliche Schweiz, they don't think outside. They don't want to think outside of the borders of Switzerland, for example. And that's just not how the world works. And it's a similar issue that those are simple problems. And I guess that's maybe where I'm hopeful that there maybe their AI can be of assistance in like managing this list for 15-year-old that just doesn't get it on its own, right? So, but it's not helpful. I know this has. I have no answers. I guess this project seems exactly what is needed, right? But I like Peter Singer made I guess good essays on those issues that matter the most, or that mattered the most in like the last 15 years, and positive examples as well, right? I warn that even if we resolve that, it will lead to the same problems we have in Switzerland. Like, we will not do much better, because at some point you kind of worked for the luxury that you have time to study music, or like at least on the side, right? And then for the most part they just end up even more lost than they were in like the 18th, 17th century, where you just were a farmer, and or maybe then in a fabric, you just did that and worked for the existence of the family. But this does not lead to an interesting Song of Songs. But this is it's not helpful. I know it's not helpful for what is currently the problem in like so yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And
but it's not an utopia. That's the problem. So like this was tun. So what is to be done? The most famous work by Chernyshevsky and others picked that up. Um, the the problem is this is not some strange utopia. This is something that is actually achievable. That would be achievable once those issues are fixed. But of course that will take generations. But I would argue it didn't change that much. So to really resolve something like the Second World War, so this trauma, so like my longest a decade in the flat in Zurich. So his grandfather clearly was still part of like the Nazi Germany, and like his father, which we discussed as well. So he was a teacher in Einsiedeln, but not at the gymnasium. So like he fled basically because there were no perspectives from like Eastern Germany, right? And so that takes 3 generations, but I guess in that regard they did a lot right, those parents, and that has a lot to do with the mother as well, and like she is in touch with Felix as well, so Rita, and they managed over like 2-3 generations so that this problem is fixed. Now I see that because it has gotten this fast, I would argue this could be fixed in like 30 years nowadays. So 3 generations could be condensed to like 25, 30 years. And that has to be the goal. But if you don't have 30 years is nowadays like a third of a human life around here. So if you don't have a vision for what to do with those two thirds, where you are no longer just pretty and have a lot to do, right? So it's not healthy for a woman to have children above 40. That's probably not something that will change that soon, for example. So what do you do with the next 50 years, right? So there I would have a lot to offer, but it doesn't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Your vision is clear to me, and can I say that eh, uh, Iran is a good example for this type of vision, because Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, not only a leader, not only supreme leader, he is mainly was a spiritual leader. And he did some actions. He fixes, he changes their population's mind. Plus they they make superpower type of things, like they are protected. How can I explain that? It makes much military tools to protect themselves under the spiritual leader. Uh, if he didn't do it, nowadays we didn't see this this scenario. USA, Israel will clearly vanished this area, but all happens, all military powers or everything happens, and they have so many financial crises. In this scenario, a supreme spiritual leader uh, did a good thing for Iranian. How do you think?
No,
Can you relate your
I think it's
thinking?
so there was this example yesterday with like Jane Good, so with the chimpanzees, right? So there is one of the biggest population, so like 200 in a Nationalpark, and so that was research he did, and then they started killing each other, and they thought it was because they were not like naturally born and under like conditions in the zoo where so that led to that kind of one clan killed the males of the other, so a real war. But now in this case this is just the same. So it's like naturally, and those are our closest like relatives. And it's not based on resources. It's not based on. It's just that they didn't get along, and that's why they kill each other on sight. And that's what, in my understanding, is to it. And the problem is, it's like you would need someone like God that just like with children, like bangs their heads together and tells them, so you have the same background, you are even the same. Like they are from the same region, so like in Mohammed's time, the Jews had to go to like, I don't know, Syria first or something, right? And now like it seems that the Israeli government is still kind of well, taking the Second World War as a reason for their actions now. But like it's just ideology, and on the other side you have this change that was actually quite recent again, right? That the Ayatollah, a spiritual leader, is now like the picture we have. I see, like he became a political leader, and like they argue it's because of this kind of meddling by the United States and Israel, and that produced this kind of government, but like it's not really an excuse, right? And like both sides just don't act according to the rule that is part of the books, all of them. So one of the commandments is that you shouldn't kill other human beings, right? Because then we are exactly the same as those example with the apes, right? And it's on both sides, and I don't know, like I don't know. It's like it's such a hopeless case, and well, if you even with the oil price, this is kind of a made up issue. Oil is that's the problem that Trump has, I guess, for the most part. Like it's true that the United States doesn't really import oil from that location. So they are one of the biggest producers, and they have now more. So they do net. They sell other oil nowadays. The United States, but it's such a small fraction of their economy. Like much more important. So this is why China is the big winner. Is like, for example, the chips, right? So the chip production for all those devices. So the high-end chips, that is where the prices really are rising. And yes, then Europe buys the oil, buys more oil from the United States, and they just rise with the price as much as they can, because there are no like protections, and so the rise in price is even more for the United States than for Germany, for example. But then there is another fact which Trump, like, he is stuck in the 19th century as well. So it's just, oil is, for Russia, it is important. Otherwise, it's that has to change. And like, there, I don't see much hope, because all of them, I mean, but I'm not. This is not my. So I'm not that. That is not my specialty. I don't know. Like, it's such. I have no solution. But I doubt that Mohammed. Like, if you study Mohammed, there is no solution either. It's really this simple. So we would need to tell this part of the world, which is the origin of all those books, Mecca and Nazareth, and what all happened there, to stop to behave like stupid apes, right? So that's all there is to it. There is yeah, and I mean, for now there is still this war about like the black gold, but it's already switching to water. So water is the biggest problem, and like the also not just drinking water, like water in general, so that they, and but the problem is that Trump, this kind of government, worse than China, like, for Trump, climate change is made up hoax, right? So yeah, but it's not much better for like the Iranian and Israeli government. So they this is the same issue. So they don't have that on a priority list, right, at the moment.
Um, um, if their God exists, then um, it will be a long discussion. So I will send you a written version of my I have some um, thinking on my mind. Maybe I can clearly tell you. I will send you a written version. But in short, if God exists, then uh, is it needed to be everything we need to counter, we need to uh, we need to make ourselves able to counters every problems, if man-made regions,
Like,
man-made chaos they creates.
for all those problems, my issue is, for all those problems. So like, like this example with like torturing, that they make money in a like scam call center, or all those issues. or that it is not a good idea to have an Epstein business. I don't need God to tell me that. So for that, I don't need the guidance of God. Like we are, we should be on a like wisdom level, unlike maybe 100,000 years ago, where it was just well, that's not something we can change. So that like that there are cannibalistic tribes, and so it was just like that. But they were not able to reason on that, but we are, and we don't need God to tell us that this is wrong. And all those questions, they are this obviously wrong, right? And so the problem is that a big part. So that's what I take issue with. But maybe it's similar, like the Jews and the Zionistic vision. So that because we behave this badly, that like with this, like I don't think it's the right. Uh, so I think with killing this whale, I think that would have been reasonable. So because it's an unnecessary suffering, why would you prolong it, right? So kill this whale that was stranded before Germany. And you cannot do that because there are so many onlookers. They wouldn't understand if you would, like the safest way would to detonate, blow it up. And this, I wouldn't, like, I think it's not right to intervene with this war of well, chimpanzees. I think it was, maybe it was gorillas, but no, I think it was chimpanzees, right? So I think that is, well, but we could learn a lot from that. Why should God intervene? Like we don't expect God to intervene in the war of the chimpanzees. Why should God intervene in our wars? Right? It's this obviously wrong, and it's this against everything Christianity and Islam would have at the core of their scriptures. So why? The problem is that there is such a big part of humanity that thinks God doesn't exist. Otherwise, He would have intervened, and that's just not how it works. Like, yeah. But there, I mean, that, yeah, and it doesn't fix the issues because the problem is that they are just the like the psychopaths like Trump and the same Israeli government, but the same Hezbollah and the same those ayatollahs, the leaders of the Iranian regime, Putin. They are just out for control and money, and that's another thing that is definitely against Islam. So like Iran has an internet crackdown at the moment. So free the truth, that you fight for the truth, like free press and so on, is not like this is absolutely not Islam, right? So it's completely against what, yeah, and then I don't know. Like, but I'm not.
In Islam, democracy is prohibited. In Islam's law, that a genius who truly know the actually how God wants, the people who know actually how what God wants, if he follow, then what to say.
I mean, It's
Actually, how do you think about old times when you read Old Testament or your Bible or a Quran or anything else? How do you think about the intervene in the previous history? God directly intervene in a miraculous way. How do you think about that? Like that seems not real, or you think that's possible, or how do you think about this?
so because I know God exists, and
Mhm.
because I started, because like even of Bach, I started to take such things on face value. But like Bach has another title is just Was soll ich mit dir machen, Ephraim? So this is about this deal, the chosen legacy of Abraham kind of made struck with God, right? And they break it, and so that's already something Bach questions. So like what on what basis does Israel like it's completely like it's against international law what they are doing with those settlements and so on. That's obvious. So and it's not even but I don't know. So like I don't think democracy is a good system at the end. So I guess it can be a way to achieve like a form of socialism that is founded in science. And I guess the only system that is actually fair, and so I would assume God properly supports, would be something like that. And another issue I have is that like so there is this vision that like true Islam will prevail everywhere, right? But is true Islam defined yet, right? So there we probably don't need another prophet to do that. For the most part, you can uh, definitely come up with like you can come up based on what is if you just use what is available from 1,500 years ago with the constitution that is definitely about as good as what Iran has at the moment. But then the next problem remains, well, they just don't act according to their constitution. And this is why I shared this with the Inklusionsinitiative. So that's exactly the same issue we have in Switzerland as well. So it's in our constitution. This is part of our constitution. So basically, the content of the Inklusions Initiative, but it is not in our law. So when it comes to equality between like women and men, there we have a lot in our law, but not when it comes to the handicapped, kind of this minority, right? And that's the same issue. So why like even the best constitution, um, the best set of rules doesn't help much if you just don't act on them, right? And I think dangerous is as well if like you just kind of assume that the biggest part of like the believers is not able to figure that out on their own, so they kind of blindly listen to a scholar. That is another dangerous system. So I guess you need both. Like you need to separate like even for most of those issues, when you are able to read on your own, you would find answers. It's not that difficult. The reason is that they like Putin as well, oil as the main source of income, like it will be different in a dozen years. So they try to extort not just the most money, but like power, influence with that, and that is like even that is what kind of Trump, I guess, wants to play as well, and he just doesn't get that this is no longer how the world works, right?
Mhm. Um, Uh, you told that people's Iran stops the network service like internet. That's not a good thing to do with people, because people should always free to talk.
Well, that is actually
The,
not from me. That is from this channel you shared. So that was when they discussed it the other day. So I have that all from that YouTube. So it's probably like, but they discussed it like that. So this free press,
Mhm,
and that you like the core, like even of the Evangelium, but in the Quran is as well that at the end the truth needs to come to light, right? So
mhm.
that's from there, and I think yeah, I for me this is not new information, but I think they present it well.
But when what I wanted to tell before that, when democracy appears, it means the people will decide the most important decisions. They will take the good thing, and people's opinion is the main thing. But in Islamic view is the king, like our supreme leader, he should be a genius, and he is know everything according Islam, then play. But do you think always in democratic way, people always think good, they know everything how system works, or it's better a good leader rules everything, that their team decides which best for our people? This is in Islamic way, but
So
in
like
a
there, my clear opinion, I repeat, is that the Greeks were like this is a word from the Greeks, right? Also democracy, that's what they came up with. Um, they were ahead than Mohammed in that regard. So when it comes, but they were not a fan of democracy, and it
Mhm,
was um, just but they were like there. The Romans made a lot of work backwards, and I
mhm,
still think so the problem is that especially the United States has a democracy again that is no longer even remotely close to like the idea behind it that could work. So it's
mhm,
just a bit like some of that stuff made sense like 75 years ago, but nowadays it doesn't make sense at all. And it is not at all a direct the democracy. And it's a bit like you keep up the illusion that it is still working democracy, and it isn't like the system they have, the political system with two parties and one president has nothing to do with democracy. And I don't even think that, like, I think democracy can be a step that you get peaceful to a system that works. And I think the other way
yeah.
that you get with the supreme leader to a system that works, I don't think that works. So that never worked in the past. I don't think that
Both
works.
both need merged, right?
Sorry?
A good leader and also people's opinion. If both merged, then it will it will be better, right?
Yes. But
Uh,
I, I,
yeah.
I mean, the problem is that, so I mean, if so, they discussed the constitution of Iran, right? And so, if you look at
Mm,
it, it's just part of Islam that you cannot fully separate state, power, and religion, right? And
mhm,
I think that can work. It can work. It's just uh, that's not what that's not what they're doing. They are abusing it as a tool to control, like they did in our past as well. And it's an achievement to separate those powers. But for me, that's something completely different. God and religion. And this is again something Bach. It's a quote from Bach. So basically, he doesn't give a shit what the church tells him to do. It's not
mhm,
in German, so this is a translation, but this is a quote. This is directly, so
mhm,
that's what they sung in the St. Thomas
yeah,
Kirche. So that's
it's
the
a hard
problem.
line. Yeah.
Yeah, so like, and then even then that was tricky back then as well. So you well had a risk that they put you in prison for something like that, right? So then you so it's always censored, and yeah. Yeah.
So I have I think it's a silly question, but it comes in mind that I live in my area. If I run a bed business, anything bed, idea that it can steal people's money or anything related bad idea. If I runs, and there if there lives a good brilliant people, but honest, if he try to stop me, and good peoples have less power, and nowadays people wants to short term profit, not long term Allah or God. And if he wants to prevent me, so I have much powers because I earn money. I can give people. When people get money, they manipulate it. And a good people can stop me, but I can stop him. I mean, if I try, I don't know if Allah helps him. No one can stop no one. We only
So
do bad things for us, not for anyone else. So a good man can prevent me, with scientifically, and satisfying Allah, how he can prevent me, and he fixes this area's problem, in your view.
I know there is this Kantate again where Bach discusses that as well. So what God does mit meinem Feind, so with this kind of enemy, right? Um,
Mhm,
and my experience is different. So the problem we have nowadays is that um, the psychopaths, so the worst psychopaths, so they are
mhm,
this, like they are this silent with themselves. So basically,
mhm,
similar Trump, Putin, um, uh, president of China as well. So as I understand it, the president of China, so Xi Jinping, was in a camp initially where they indoctrinated him to become this this role he plays now, and they kind of destroyed that part of his family that didn't go along with this, right? And so this is like the potential would be that you like as a so we would have the power with like writing books and news and like that is something Harari discusses as well. So we have so like with those doctors in Einsiedeln, the psychiatrists, because I can now openly claim that they were indicted by the institutions that are here, that that you cannot just act like they did. So that's very efficient, right? So that's why we need speech, and that's why we need news and stuff like that. But the worst psychopaths, and even a psychopath is often quite brilliant. So like Putin as well. So for me, the only one of them that is kind of even worse in that regard. So Trump is definitely just plain stupid. Sadly, a good representation of the average American citizen, in my opinion. But like he doesn't have that. He's just too stupid, right? But they are this dangerous because they are on a level no one dares to touch them. And like instead of that, Elon Musk has exactly the same issue as well. So he would never consider to go to a psychotherapy for his issues. But that's, I guess, why the AfD kind of for them, I'm handicapped because I'm going to the Verhaltenstherapeutin. So, because he would only go there to maybe, I don't know, get laid with the pretty psychologist. So he doesn't, he is this insecure. He doesn't allow that, because otherwise, like he's not. I guess he's not that stupid. So he needs drugs. He needs this kind of silence. So he doesn't have to think it through like this. Yeah, and and that's our issue at the moment. That the result is just that the worst psychopaths end up in power. And I don't know, the world, and we are doing really worse, and there was no such 7 years that the world got for the most part worse and worse since the Second World War. So no one of our so my parents were born after, right? So they didn't experience that. They just like got worse and worse, and it's very hard to find hope in this. So as long as we don't stand up to the psychopaths, but that is as soon as you really and I don't consider my godfather a psychopath. I consider him an arrogant asshole and so on, but that is a different level, right? So because that gets dangerous. So if you get in their way, they will. But they have no they have no rules, and they will just eliminate you if they consider you like yeah. So that's the problem, and there I don't see how democracy or another system kind of stops them. It's just yeah, and they would and it's a kind of border that is again as it's a Gratwanderung. So like in many ways I would consider Jesus kind of had those tendencies as well, right? So some of the things he did, they were just crazy and suicidal, right? Um,
Mhm.
and he knew that, right? So, but the result is exactly the opposite, and that needs, but most of them, of the people back then considered him crazy, and the same would happen again, right? Nowadays, probably even
Mhm.
worse, for the most part, yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's I don't know there again that I don't see like as long as um there I see uh compared to like pastoral care or like such a figure from the church. So especially like for my parents, a psychologist never has access to them, but someone like the vicar or something like that, right? So, well, he might have an opportunity to talk to them. Well, they are not going to church frequently, but they still play frequently in the church. So that's still, yeah, that's still something psychology, our system, the prevailing system cannot replace at all, right?
Mhm.
This kind of and I so did you watch this German Sternstunde Philosophie, where it was about the Säkularisierung around here?
No, like, can you share me?
Yes, I did. I did share it. So this is like I shared it because
Which
they are discussing that exactly. So like about how those numbers developed, and I think it's another kind of waste of time.
Yuval Harari. Um,
Not
uh,
not that I shared Harari and I shared
six.
I shared another. I didn't share much more than that, but I can share it again. Yeah. So I mean this is just like how that went down. Well, in Switzerland around here. So the Säkularisierung, yeah. So eben like now we have more than half of the population that is konfessionslos, so they left churches entirely, right?
Yeah. Um,
And there
I
again, I
have.
think it would
Yeah.
just be better to start with this kind of summary. So, like, the difference is that they have a solid background in philosophy. Um, but otherwise, like they are used to that. They have like uh, gray hair and listeners, and I don't like the host at all. She, in my opinion, never asks the interesting questions. I don't know if she even would be and I don't get it. Like the audience, like why don't ask one interesting question? The audience for the most part doesn't get it. So I don't but this is one of the last existing formats in this like so philosophy discussion, like one of the last left. So that's, yeah, I don't know.
Mhm. So when you find some videos or articles that feels about me, I should check out. Please let me feel free to send me that. That must be not necessary that should be in English, because nowadays we have AI. Um, So, if you think anything that I should know about that, please.
Ja, so eben, it's those two. So this Sternstunde Philosophie and this eben, I think it's better to get an impression how this Harari is like talking about his book than I don't think you really need to read that book. Like you find, but that's the point, and I think there he did a good job, like able to get away all those theories that like the Jews have more uh, like inherited genome from the Neanderthalers than the stuff like that is prevailing in like like it can be reasons for those wars and so on, like, but that's just uh, like for me there was nothing new about it at all. So I
Mhm.
think it would be the best if like some of the like that you not always start from nothing, because then it gets never interesting. But um I don't know if this is the best, but I don't know something better to like a
Okay.
brief history of humankind, a summary of
Yeah.
that. I think he does a good job with that book. That doesn't mean
Okay.
that it is like if you read a bit about that, so like um, how our ancestors looked like and so on, and there were like what is was 7 or 9 different like Homo sapiens even, and then
Mhm.
why we prevailed as Homo sapiens. Sapiens is kind of it's not really like it's just what happened, and now it is what it is, right? So yeah.
Like, how much percent you believe that God exists? 100%, or you have some confusion about God?
No, I'm 1000 billion% sure God exists. Not about the afterlife, not about like that's the problem. That doesn't follow for me. Or that Mohammed was sent by Allah. That doesn't follow for me. There I'm way less sure. Um
Okay, okay,
yeah.
that's not necessary, but the afterlife, life, there's the core thing in this world. If after life is real, then then this world should be a different. We need to see in a different way, because in my in my knowledge, how I think actually, I thought, I'm growing with your ideas too, but I thought like, uh, uh, a- example I given, if I a bad will now, if I a good people to prevent a bad one, the thing is my mind is, um, I will do my best at my capacity, because the good ones, capacity is less, because you can hurt extra, but a bad one can hurt you much. But you have to deal with goodness. That is too much hard to tolerate this. And then the real thing is there. Actually, God wants from us a good thing, not successful, not how big I am to showing, just react how to react the real thing. Then if you killed by a bad person, that's not important if there is a afterlife, because how I play my rule according, God,
That is not
if
for me,
that
like
make me
that is for me not a given logically. So that's a bit like there is so much
Yeah,
I
yeah. I
like.
need to know much about you in this idea.
So
How I think
I'm just
on it.
not
Yeah.
there. I'm just not this certain. So like I made this example with the time machine. So like
Mhm.
the first thing I would do, I would enter this time machine before I was born, and if I had the choice, before this accident again, right? But since like just, well, actually a couple months, I'm kind of starting to see that, well, in hindsight, I might not do that now. And I never believed that that would change like 5 years ago, right? But then if you really ask, what would you use that time machine for? So I would go
Mhm.
back and do it differently with like this K, and I think I would need to start with her like psychosocial environment at that age before she went to the overseas for the end of the gymnasium because she was this like mobbed in the school. So before I knew her, so like with 13, 14. So there you would need to fix it. Now, does a time machine really fix that? And well, the problem is like if we were able to build a time machine, like we probably would have ways to invest those resources first. And I think it's highly unlikely that this kind of time machine will ever be built in this universe. So what I really want is to kind of talk to her, change that. Now, for that, you don't need a time machine. And then the problem is like, what does the afterlife help me to fix this kind of problem? So,
Mhm.
like, even if I would be able to talk to her again in the afterlife, it wouldn't fix nothing. It wouldn't change what. So, what is the point in this? Like in this for this Song of Songs, it just didn't happen, and I don't see a way that an afterlife can fix that, right? So again, my most important, and this is for me um, the the quote of Jesus I didn't expect. So in the Bible is always when they claim it is directly from Jesus. In the German translation you have always like wahrlich ich sage euch. Then it's directly from a speech from Jesus they claim. And that's one of the ones I didn't expect, is that Jesus says like um, you have to try to fix it here, then it is resolved in heaven. And that even
Mhm.
has a lot of like logical purpose if heaven doesn't exist.
If you resolve means should I should we able to fix completely, or we are we should do to improve as long we live, or that's the purpose. We should do improving the things, the problems, but can we all can we all fix all the things? Some people can fix some problems, some people die at their middle path. So how it will measured for afterlife?
So I don't know. So like for me, like I claim God exists. So for
Mhm.
me, and that's more what I tested, God is all knowing. So
Mhm.
whatever uh, we type, and so God is always present. Now,
Mhm.
the other the other questions about does an afterlife like for me that doesn't really follow. For me, this is not that important, but I
Mhm.
understand this is again like I probably have an easy time to so like another like prevailing is that to kind of so this life is like a dream basically, and then you wake up and like it changes uh, completely, right? So when the afterlife starts, something like that. And I don't need that. I don't need that because I have now the opportunity to, I want to try to change it here. And like if God is able to understand our, he cares
Mind, intention.
for the creation. So for me, like even when like a child dies with like well, it's actually the toughest is from like Veresh. So there Alexis died with like 3 years, not even, and had one of the youngest Herztransplantationen, something like this. So an artificial heart. Um,
Mhm.
so I think it's more about how we kind of deal with this. And
Mhm.
it's not like this is not the fault of like a doctor or of humanity. So
Mhm.
we will be like rewarded, but again, for the most part, that would be in this the kingdom of God as much as possible should be here, right? So that I
Mhm.
don't know, like uh, yeah, but it's probably hard. I have not experienced that, so
Mhm.
I don't wanna like. Yeah, there is probably not that much positive to see about it, but still, I for me it can be.
Then how you saw Mahatma Gandhi's life, the man with a very simple, I like his course best, that is you can shake in a gentle way, you can shake the world. And he did. He was a main leader in India, and he was not a violence, and everything he did in a simple way. How did you see his life? What you want to show me about Mahatma Gandhi's life to me? Actually, I want to discuss it another day.
Yeah, let's
Um,
discuss it. So there again, so that was a lot of like what uh, we discussed with Michael Rickli in this Lesezirkel, and this is something. So Gandhi influenced, and I guess it went both directions with Tolstoy. So that they definitely influenced each other, but I'm not that much of a fan of Gandhi. So like the biography, if you look at it, like that's I don't know. I don't know. For me, this is like I don't know. I for me this is like a lot of it was just used to kind of um like those like history again, like those wars were bloody on both sides. So the English Empire and India, and still is for the most part, right? So just because Gandhi was not violent, I don't know. Like I don't know. So I don't know. And Gandhi hated women, and I think he did not feel well with that hatred. Um, and like then very strange stuff that like because like he grew up that you didn't eat meat. So when he first time ate meat, he felt completely dirty and so on, and had I don't know. It's all like what does that help us? I don't know. Like again, it's a real strange biography, and what is different to many other, like if you want a presentation about Gandhi, you have a good result with ChatGPT because so many already had the task, right? So,
Mhm. Yeah.
but otherwise,
Um,
like I don't know. I mean, uh,
before AI, before AI, I did that on my own because I don't like all of his works, but the main thing, if you notice, what he did and how he lived, and from that was something different. That was the power of a good soul, and something he experiments different, like. He uses a young woman to sleep and blah blah blah, and that's not the main case, but how he operates the country, and he fights with in English empire, with goodness, with that kind of attitude, and influential, and everything that rethinks me, reminds me to think that mm, uh, actually the spiritual basis. I don't know.
I don't know. Like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
problem is that the result is not that good. So yes, like Mandela, like maybe, but there are this many weapons involved, so it's not peaceful at all in like South Africa and so on. And well, maybe this influence was for the better, and then India as well. The result, there are like 90 million landless suffering, and I mean this background. As I understand it, Gandhi would have been from like a higher caste, but not that high. And there he didn't actually question that fully. And so the result is like India is suppressing this kind of information like no other place, right? So there are just yeah, like he in that regard. So like there were um, before Corona, I guess that was would have been the 150th birthday of Gandhi. So like 2019, but I would need to look it up. So they wanted to, some of them walked from India to Geneva in Switzerland, so where this UNO Hauptsitz is, right? So for like human rights. And the idea was that they would be joined, especially on the last part of this peaceful walk to remember Gandhi, but protest or that they have no rights in India. And it was completely suppressed. No one participated because of the lockdowns, and India like managed to suppress this. Like yeah, it's unbelievable. And so I don't know. I don't know.
No, okay. So can we take
Yeah, we
from,
should yeah, yes, we should continue another time. Yeah.
yeah, I will take
Yeah.
yeah, afternoon meal.
Thanks a lot. Was real interesting again. Um,
Yeah, today's I liked from we start to till today. I'm enjoying especially today's conversation. higher, much.
Okay, yeah, and now the connection was fixed. So yeah, well, that is definitely for our project. I have some hopes that it will continue in a similar fashion. So that, like, there we are. There is still a lot of potential, right? Yeah.
Actually, after all, my intention, the main intention to work with you, to know me better, to know myself better. Um, Actually, this is the main purpose. Then, when I know myself better, then I can do something better for others.
Yes, the problem is that
Yeah,
around here this doesn't work, and I have the same issue, of course, with myself, especially when I
yeah,
remember how I was doing like up to 25. And it's just like the courage to do this around here. Um,
mm,
like it's you would need to you would need to like Gandhi tried a lot, but he had an audience. So when he uh, stopped eating, he achieved sometimes goals. At least he was
yeah,
in the end shot and so on. So at least if I would have done that, like after the mental hospital visit in 2020 or 2000, no one would have noticed. And that's
mm,
in many ways. So it's a completely different problem again. But like I'm kind of jealous of like, but well, Gandhi tried. He tried, right? But here, even if you try, they are all this like uh I would not be surprised if God is completely bored of what they are doing. And the problem is kind of Allah cannot run away because the all is quite big, right? So run like yeah, it's so pointless what they are doing, and myself included, up to 25, that there is nothing meaningful. It's all kind of preparation for that, and then you kind of again, it's always this issue. Kind of build a house, and this is a lot of work. So like to study physics or to play poker on such a level is a lot of work. But we do nothing with it. We just end up losing why we do that, right? So like yeah. But let's continue another day. Yeah.
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 Uh,
Ciao,
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 Ursli.
Faruk. Merci. Ciao.